Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. শোনা যাচ্ছে? শোনা যাচ্ছে? Okay. We're pleased to welcome you to the Women in Big Industries session of the first ever International Women Entrepreneur Summit 2022, co-hosted by BIDA and BIBC. I'm Zareen Mahmoud Hussain, a director of BIBC and a partner of Snehashish Mahmoud and Company Chartered Accountants. I will be your moderator for today. I would now request our chief guest, Honorable Minister of Commerce, Mr. Tipu Munshi MP, our honorable keynote speaker, Ms. Rupali Chaudhary, MD and CEO of Berger Paints Bangladesh Limited, to take their seats on stage. Sir, Rupali Appa. Thank you. I would now request our distinguished panelists to come on stage as I call your name. Ms. Nicole Mao, founder and CEO, Tiger New Energy. Nicole. Ms. Sabira Marine Saba, CEO and founder, Wonder Woman. Ms. Kazi Mahfuza Maisoon, CEO and Director, Lakeshore Hospitality Group. Ms. Tasin Mahbub, Director, Ananto Real Estate Limited. Ms. Arusha Khan, Director, Seven Ring Cement. Ms. Zareen Karim, Managing Director, Orion Pharma and Healthcare Limited. Ms. Rifa Tasnia, Director, Walton Group. And joining with us online is Ms. Kari Sasaki, founder and chief executive officer of eWoman from Japan. Thank you all for joining today. In this session, we intend to summarize the current scenario of women's participation in the big industries, highlight the challenges and success of big industries to have more women in their C-suites and middle management, and discuss how big industries may assist women in SMEs via backward linkages. Today, we have someone I personally look up to and is a role model for many women and men. She does not only have a seat at the table, but everybody listens when she speaks. She has been serving as Berger Paint Bangladesh Limited CEO and MD for 15 years, and has served as the president of Foreign Investors Chamber of Commerce and Industries, FICCI. I've had the honor of giving my first pitch to an MNC in front of her many years ago at Berger. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Rupali Chaudhary to give her keynote presentation. Rupali.
Assalamu alaikum. A very good morning, Honorable Minister of Commerce. I had a very interesting encounter with him. So before I, begin my speech, I must share that, encounter with him. So before the election, there was one big invitation for all the business person, and our Honorable Prime Minister was actually chairing that session, and he happens to sit beside me. And because I am in this professional world, I didn't have any idea that he's going to be the next commerce minister. So I was all the time, complaining about what government is not doing, what it should do, and what is going wrong in this. And he actually listened to me carefully without saying, and also, saying that who he was. And I was later on found out that he was the next, commerce minister. Oh my God, what I did. And he was such a gentleman, and he actually, wherever he sees that, and he smiles at me, I smile at him. I mean, So thank you. Thank you for such a great commerce minister. I mean, it's listening is half of the problem is solved. So, and I am very, very thrilled because of the one fact, you look at the podium. I'm the oldest or eldest person here, and and joined by all these luminaries, young persons. So I'm really, really inspired. So when we look at the statistics, it's not really very interesting, but when we look at the trend, then we are really, really thrilled. So keynote speaker, I'm actually not really the right person to speak about it, because I'm not a sociologist, I'm not really economist. I just, like Sharif, I just run a business. So if you want to talk me about what are the issues in terms of running a business, I can be more conversant with that. But why women are not coming, it's more, my discussions are going to be more commonsensical. So what I have observed, I'm going to share with you. Some you may agree, some you may not agree, but I'm trying to, this is also a passionate subject for me, because it is actually bothering us for a longest period of time, because our Prime Minister is actually focusing on this subject for a longest period of time. And in the government, you see that, they are the biggest, intaker and putting all the women in the important position. So it's actually private sector now. We have to really deal with this subject and really find out why it is not happening. So this is, I'll try to discuss the current scenario, but if I really look at Bangladesh, at the inception of from the 1971, our father of nation and all the leaders along with him, they actually understood that empowering, without empowering women, who actually constitutes 50% of the woman population, Bangladesh cannot thrive. So at this moment, our Prime Minister, opposition leader, and then also Speaker of the House, and also many ministers are also women. And so also we see that they are also occupying position in the Navy. Unlike many other countries, in the Army also women are now being inducted. So now actually we have to have that strong presence in the private sector. And why economic empowerment is necessary? We all know that it gives us that capacity to decide for our life, because without economic emancipation, the decision is actually thrust upon us, and that's not what we want. And we actually, if we really look at the this formal economy, and then only without this participation we cannot actually end also poverty. But what we have seen that during that time, government had one program going on, and NGO also played a very vital role. And because of that, from that period in 1971, at that time, what our actually the births per woman was 6.3 in 1971. It has become 2 births in 2020. So it's a great achievement. It is almost at the replacement level. So according to the Human Capital Index, girls in Bangladesh have a slightly better chance of completing school and surviving to retirement age. Between 1990 and 2021, Bangladesh increased the female labor participation from 27 to 35. It went up a little bit, but during COVID it went down. So the sector where they are working, it's not really, it's everybody put together, the labor and also the woman in the managerial position, supervisory level. So basically the contributor is the RMG. So the whole fabric of the society, when we talk about why women are not in the C-suite position, the whole revolution comes from the different sector. The rural woman, half educated, and sometimes not educated. They took that kind of big step, and thanks to RMG sector for actually creating that environment. Although actually in terms of entrepreneurship, it is only 7%. Our number of entrepreneurs actually is 7 million. So we are occupying only 7%. But here also there are stereotypes, no? We actually go for only beauty salon, only actually boutique shop. So now it is time actually whether we can actually change that gear from that particular sector to some other sector. So they are so creative. Why not high tech? So we have to take why it is not happening. We can discuss later on. But there, woman has to also, given that chance to thrive in the entrepreneurship job. But the government law for the SME, in any case, the SME loan, irrespective of woman or man, it is not really good. It's not really good because for the woman also there is lot of hurdles. We have spoken about it in different forum. I think Bangladesh Central Bank has now changed the law, because in our country, a lot of people may not like it. The inheritance law is all laws are actually international, company law and things like that. When it comes to inheritance, then it comes Sharia law. And then when it comes to Sharia law, you become lesser human being, because you get 50% of what you are entitled to. Because and for the minority of women, there is no right. And we are still in the British era. The law still exists. And government has taken many initiatives, but there are forces, male forces, they are saying that it's going to change the whole fabric of the society. What fabric of the society? So these women, when they apply for loan, they cannot show any collateral. So this is a big problem, and we spoke to central bank, and they agree that this is going to be removed. I mean, that for the woman, there has to be different kind of collateral. It should be the business case, isn't it? If it is a business case, then they will look at the ROI and look at the authenticity of that business. And if they have banking history, why they should ask for collateral. So in this sector, I think the microfinance cannot actually help. Microfinance is a small business. We are talking about SME, then entrepreneurship. And then participation, another thing is that according to now, the subject that I'm supposed to talk about is actually why we do not see, in the C-suite position, many women. First of all, my own take on it is actually, statistics says that, there was one study by IFC and DSE that all the listed companies, 18% in 18% companies, there are female directors. So that's a good beginning. I'm saying that in many countries it's not even like that. So in my board also we try to induct women directors, so that professional directors. So they actually contribute, and their confidence goes up, and we are better represented in terms of inclusiveness and gender diversity. So what happened actually, in the education system, the have-not girls, they have shown the path in the garments industry. But in the middle class family, there is a good trend that parents do believe that they have to really educate their daughters. That's for sure. I mean, that is happening across the gender. They are giving importance that, okay, fine, you have to study. And at the end of the day, some of the parents think that marriage is the ultimate solution. So, and education is also to get a good groom, for a better marriage or anything like that. And some of the girls actually, they break the barrier. They join the workforce. And then suddenly what happens, either there is an arranged marriage or fall in love. So, and when there is, the hormonal imbalance is going on, and what you select as your groom, I mean, at that time, a lot of promises are being made, and they think that they can continue their job. And after marriage also, we see in our company, they continue. And then when they become mother, then there is a call of umbilical cord. I said that, Bangla bole jorai uttan. And she actually wants to take the whole responsibility on her shoulder. And there is a big guilt consciousness going on, that whether I want to become a good mother or good employee. So immediately, we also have to actually teach our sons that, you cannot treat your wife the way your father treated your mother. So men have many roles, isn't it? As a father, they're wonderful. As a brother, they're somewhere in between. But as a friend, they're very good. But as a husband, I don't know what happens in their mind. Something. And even if it's a love marriage, everything is done and well said, and then they look different way because they have seen. So it is time to teach our sons that time has changed. If you want to survive your marriage, and if you want your wife to be an independent woman, because life is full of uncertainty, because something can happen to you in terms of health, what happens to the family? And that I think that thing should come very strongly in the minds of the woman. So I said that nothing, and woman should help woman. And we also have a tendency, we are little bit jealous, more jealous than the man. Sometimes we don't see that networking coming in like today. So we want to help each other. If you have a bad time, we are going to help each other. If you have a long working day, next day you cannot come, someone comes up. And also for the companies, what we see that, so our male colleagues, when I actually tell them, you have to take women, they said that, no, I will invest so much of time, then after the marriage, she is going to go with her husband to some other countries, or she is going to give up her job. So we are actually losing lot of talents in the mid management level. And unfortunately, our biological clock and the career clock, it goes different way. So because you have to become a mother at certain age, and when you take off as a professional. So this is a very big, I think, dilemma among the women. But I see that, my take on this is that nothing is perfect in life. I cannot be a best employee. I cannot be also best mother. I cannot be also best wife. We are somewhere in between. Life is not perfect. So we have to really take care of lot of corporate companies. They do have actually daycare center in the office, but lot of companies cannot afford that also. My take on this that our women, they have to find out, because you are brilliant, you always actually come up with solutions that my take on this when I actually talk to different young girls in my office. So I tell them that you have to really invest in your nanny. Share half of your salary, because your fixed asset is your son or daughter. So if you want to protect your fixed asset, do you look at your own income? You think that she is playing your mother's role when you are not there. So if you do that, you have those critical period of 4 or 5 years. So don't give up your job until you have to really give up your job. So just hang on there and be there and contribute significantly. And another thing, I see that when we actually go into the job, we women, we tend, your money is your money, my money is my money. No, we have to really set examples in terms of that. We also seem to be contributing to the family, betterment of the family. So there is a greater acceptance of your job, and you earn that respect from your family. So these are the some tricks that we always want to say. Another thing is actually we not so talked about is the workplace harassment. So we in our company also, we have many processes like whistleblower policy, like they can write to managing director, they can actually meet me all in discreet manner without actually disclosing their identity. And I had actually 2 sessions with the women. So there are 2 types of problems. Like in our company, I can actually employ more women in the sales, but I want to hire somebody stationed in Noga. But my fear is that, are they safe at night when they are traveling? So my take on this is the only the government part we want to get from there. For if teasing, for rapists, there should not be any how do I say, delay in the justice. So and it should not be like one of those cases that why the first question they ask, why you are there at that period of time, and what we are doing. It's not important. I am a citizen of this country. I can be middle of the night somewhere stuck, and then I don't have to prove so many things just to prove that I was being raped. So, and we actually, Bangladesh has set an example in terms of acid survivors, that at that time we worked. I was at that time, still I am the president of Prothom Alo Kollan Trust. We worked with the regulatory body, and it stopped because we had 4 or 5 cases of actually lifetime imprisonment and also death sentence. So the fear works wonderfully for men, women, everybody. People work for why? Either for the reward or for the punishment. So that's why I'm saying that for eavesdropping, for the security, police force, we must all come together and give this feel to our women, to the entrepreneurs, to the company, that our women can actually use the public transport, because entry level we cannot give them the car, because it does not work that economically. So we have to really provide that kind of security, and government has to play a lot of role, because they have shown the path in terms of recruiting the women. But what about the external world? But when there are also different kind of, and our boys are also, the way they have actually raised, we have not really talked about this harassment, what this harassment means. It could be verbally a simple comment, isn't it? So, but they don't know that it actually constitutes harassment. So we have to create awareness in the workplace what constitutes harassment. And also we have, within the organization, we have to create examples. Whoever actually is convinced of this, convicted of this crime, should be thrown away. So examples within the organization, outside the organization. And I was talking to one of the girls, this story I must tell you, that the customer calls her 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. And then someone who's, one of the girls, she's not married yet. So the question is actually why you are not getting married. So, you know, she was tired of answering this question and said that, and she found out a very, very creative solution. She wore a ring, you know, and then she said that I am already engaged. So, you know, women actually, you know, they have enormous amount of obstacles to thrive in their professional world. First of all, we have to believe that we can do better, because, of course, without the help of the man, we cannot actually progress. So far we have come. We are indebted to our male colleagues, and also politicians, and also sociologists, NGOs, to create that awareness. But it is not good enough. And our statistics says that, you know, Bangladesh, only actually, I was just the other day, you know, talking about it, it's only 20% women in the professional world. So I must say that, you know, basically we have a lot to do, but I'm hopeful. You know, statistics does not say story of Bangladesh. We see that, you know, in the professional, in the banking sector, in lot of departmental heads position, there are many women actually heading many important positions. So we will see that, you know, someone has to break that ceiling. That having said that, you know, they are capable of. One woman I know, Humaira, she was actually heading IPDC. Now she's the head of Trust Bank. So there's only one. So there are many ladies actually holding important positions. So the board of directors must actually also, you know, have that confidence in the woman that given the job, they will do, they of course do thrive, you know, because we have a different style of management, isn't it? I mean, nothing against men, they have a different style, we have a different style. Our styles are more collaborative, we talk more. Sometimes men, they do not like it. Like, what is the problem? Come for solutions. So we would like to talk about more of the problems than actually come to the solution, because we would like to be heard. And we are the first timers, so we would like to more collaborative step. Sometimes collaborative style actually engage people in the organization. So that's not a bad leadership style. So my saying is that, you know, we have a lot way to go. I actually thank these organizations that, you know, they have selected me as keynote speaker. I don't know whether I have actually done justice to my job. I have written a huge note, but I have not really seen. Maybe I have forgot some of the points. And also, at one point I missed out is actually digital platform. So I think there is a stereotype that we are not good at maths, we are not good at the digital platform. So, but this is the time that we can use this platform to educate women and give them confidence. And whatever we can do, my suggestion is that whether we can actually induct a mentorship program, because there are many mentorship program for the man, not for the woman. Because they have to actually, there is a feeling. When they became, I was actually director for few years, then when they 4 years, then they were actually thinking of making a managing director. They had a lot of doubts. The first doubt, can you imagine, later on I came to know that whether I'll be able to control the CBA. I said, what the hell? In our family, I'm sorry for my language, I'm like that only. I said that in our family, we are the one who actually believe in resolutions of problem. When we get married, we are actually, you know, play that role between the husband and the in-laws, and we are the stabilizer factors. We are the gravity. We are the center of the earth. So if we can resolve all the problems, why not in the board? Why not in the other, you know, areas? So it's time that we actually we need your intervention in terms of giving us that kind of safety nets so that we can hire more, because our pipeline should be greater and greater. And also the educational problem that young boys from the, you know, they should know that from the childhood they know that a woman is not a lesser human being. They are not only for the marriage, and you know, marriage solves all the problem. Marriage doesn't solve all the problem, it brings all the problem, isn't it? So, and also my take on this is, and we should not also forget about the religious sensitivity in our country. Sometimes it is misrepresented, isn't it? So, and also about the inheritance law, it shows that, you know, everything is fine, everything is company law, everything is different kind of law. We have 19 laws to regulate a business, but when it is a question of inheritance, it's Sharia law. So it's actually, someone may not like it, but I have to tell what is truth, isn't it? And then and also I must say that, you know, there is always a say that marriageable age. You know, this is an interesting topic, although it's nothing to do with, and it is an interesting story. So when there was in the newspaper, it came out. Well, they were debating our marriageable age is 18, whether they should bring it down to 15. I said, then what the hell? Again, what the hell? I mean, because the logic was they fell in love and they actually do all kinds of things. I said that if they, at the age of 15, if they don't fall in love and they do not have any flirtatious behavior, then we have to take her to the doctor and find out whether hormonal balance is all right or not. So I must say that, you know, this is for men. Who are there having flirtatious behavior with the same age boys? So are you going to get them married at the age of 15? Why different kind of, you know, connotations? So these kind of questions we have to throw to our, you know, men and also women, family. So if the society doesn't change, if the mindset doesn't change, suddenly we do not see that there is a big shift in the, you know, employment of or becoming CEO of the company. So we need government, we need sociologists, we need economists, we need private sector. We need a bigger movement going on. And things like this, I think, will take Bangladesh somewhere. I'm hopeful, thanks to our Prime Minister. Thank you, Minister, for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rupali Chaudhary. Thank you for giving us that narrative of hope and improving trends and talking about inheritance rights. I just wanted to share that from BIBC, this year we have launched our mentorship program, Empower Her, with university students. The first pilot is being done with ULAB students with 11 mentees and mentors from BIBC. And I think a couple of our mentees are here. I see one. Is there anyone else? Just come forward. Yeah. Come. Yeah. So, and they've been shadowing us, and for the conference, they've been volunteering here. So give Round of applause for the mentees. So they're third year and fourth year business students. Now, I would like to announce on behalf of BIBC that it is our honor to present the award of Women of Excellence to Ms. Rupali Chaudhary. We have an award night ceremony this evening. She will be flying out, so we are presenting this award here, and I would like to request our honorable chief guest to kindly present the award. Mantasha, President BIBC, please come on stage as well. Congratulations and thank you so much. Now we will move on to our panel session. Radisson Tawhid bhai ki ache ei podium ta soriye den. We have a panelist, Ms. Kaori Sasaki, founder of eWoman Japan, joining us online. She's an expert on diversity who serves on numerous corporate boards and has organized the Diversity Conference in Japan since 1996. Hi, Kaori. Thank you for joining. My question to you is, I would request you to discuss about women's participation in the Kiretsus, the large groups of companies in Japan, and what can be the learning from it for the international community. Ms. Sasaki. We can't hear you. Onake ekটু unmute করেন.
I'm unmuted already.
Okay, we can hear you now. Start.
Okay, and then can you see my presentation form as well?
Yes.
Okay, and you can see my face too?
We could see it before, but yeah.
Okay, can you
I think
see
you just need to change the view setup. Yeah. Yeah, we can see you. Yeah.
And then I'm going to show my presentation as well. So I'd like to, is it okay to show my presentation format? So,
yes,
and then
so we can hear you. So show the presentation. We can hear you along with it.
Okay. All right, but you cannot see me, maybe. Well, okay, that's okay. So I am going to talk a bit about the women's big industry in Japan. And then now I would like to, I am very, very honored to speak to you. Bangladesh is one of my favorite countries. I visited Bangladesh many years ago, in 1991, and I had a great experience there. I was there as a news reporter for the TV news in Japan. So as you may know, that Bangladesh is here in the left and the Japan is in the right. I don't know how many people have come to Japan, but please do come. We're open. And then my profile is a long profile, but I am an entrepreneur and started 2 companies. At the same time, now I am currently serving for the outside director for the listed companies, as well as the member for the government council members, or the treasurer for the foundations and so forth. So I would like to experience I'd like to show and share my experience of the Japan. And then so Japan had the equal employment opportunity law has started in 1985. That was the actually the first year of the equalness of the women and men has started. And then since that time that the Japan has been, the government has been working on very hard to do a lot of things. And then actually in education wise, that OECD did the survey in 2012 that it's called the adult skill test. And Japan ranked #1 in the world, both men and women, as a capability of their as a worker. And the government has also introduced the several laws to protect women or support women, I should say, that the maternity leave, childcare leave, compensation during childcare leave. So many things. And I would say that the Japanese men are very gentle, so that they have kindly created so many laws and regulations to support women. But what happened was that this is the WEF gender gap index, that the Japan has been low in among G7 countries for many, many years, even though those laws are provided to women, because that the other intention was to support weak women, but not really included as a business force. In details, like this year, July, that this is the rank of WEF. As you know, the World Economic Forum has the yearly gender gap index and rankings. And this year, they researched 146 countries in the world. Japan ranked 116, which is still the lowest among the G7 countries. In details, when we see that the other education is ranking #1, it's that the gap is nothing. This 1.0, it's at 100% equal for education, meaning that Japanese women are very well educated in the world, and then the same as men. And then also the health-wise, it's ranking 63, but it's 0.973, meaning that health is also the world #1 health situation in Japan, both women and men. However, when you look at business and politics, that the Japan has a lot of problems. In business-wise, it's 0.564, which is ranking 121 out of 146 countries. Politics is lower than that, 0.061, which is 139 ranking, which is really low among the whole world. So, meaning that the Japan has not been using the capability and ability of the women, women's brain, women's heart, women's labor force to the business nor politics, even though they are well educated and also very healthy. So the issue is that the women advancement used to be considered as a human right issues. That is why that the government has been introduced so many regulations and laws to protect weak people, right? They treated women as a weak category. So human rights issues and equal opportunities, those are basic, and we still have to fight about it. We have to really work on it very hard. However, we need to also add that the women's advancement, and then my terminology is diversity, leads to happiness business growth, economy growth, innovation, and the governance to be better. So we have to also shift and also enlarge the concept of women's advancement and diversity in Japan. So the company I founded, eWoman, its mission is diversity leads innovation. So we do various things to work on it. We also introduced the McKinsey's data that the McKinsey has done very good research that there used to be, they call it the gender diversity, that why diversity matters. That's a title of their report in 2014. Now, 2019, their report named Diversity Wins, meaning that diversity and women's empowerment advancement is not just supporting the human rights issue, but actually to make the company grow faster or better than the other companies. And Japan has been taking that kind of information to the business, so that the Japanese government has been now promoting a lot of their regulations for the women at work. Also, the market has moved as well. But let's see the women on boards in Japan. That this year, July, we have has a new kind of like a market division, three categories to the listed companies. The top is called the prime market. Prime market is the biggest for the big companies, the top companies in Japan. However, I should say that only the three-fourths of the companies have women on board, meaning that the 25% of the companies on prime market do not have women on board. And also the top 500 companies, we only have 14.5 women on board. So even though that we know the data and that we have laws and regulations, and then atmosphere or trend has been moving on. However, the reality is we have still a lot of things to do. So eWoman has been doing the three major things to kind of like conquer that kind of issues. One is the promoting the women on board. So we have launched the board that is a network for women on board. The Kobayashi, NIGP, and Japan Post and Premier Wellness Science are the companies that I am serving as an outside board. But of course, that we do have more members to join, and we have actually just recently partnership with the 50-50 Women on Board in the United States, so that we work together to increase and empower.
কলকাতাতেও আমি দেখেছি রাত একটার সময় ট্রামে তো মেয়েরা যাচ্ছে, কাজ সেরে যাচ্ছে, মাঝরাতে কাজ করে যাচ্ছে, শোরুমে যারা সেলস গার্ল তাদের হয়তো 12টার সময় শেষ হয়েছে গাড়িতে। কথা তেমনটা হয় না, কিন্তু আমাদের দেশে কথাটা হয়। আমরা সবাই জানি যে কেউ কারা এইভাবে মেয়েদেরকে পিছিয়ে ফেলার ষড়যন্ত্রে লিপ্ত, যাতে করে তারা এগোতে না পারে। তো আমি আবারও বলি, এমনি সুযোগ আসবে না, সুযোগটা আপনাদের করে নিতে হবে, সাহসীভাবে এগিয়ে আসতে হবে। আজকে মঞ্চে যারা বসে আছে তাদের সবগুলা বড় বড় কোম্পানির প্রতিনিধি, তারা হয়তো পৈতৃক সূত্রে অথবা ফ্যামিলি অথবা নিজেরা করে এসছেন। অ্যাপ্রিসিয়েট করতে হবে একেবারে তৃণমূলে যে মেয়েরা আগাচ্ছে, তারা কিন্তু অনেক প্রতিকূল অবস্থার মধ্যে, সমাজের অনেক অসুবিধার মধ্যে তারা কিন্তু এগোচ্ছে। তবে তাদেরকে এগিয়ে দিতে হবে। যেমন ধরেন, আমি যে অঞ্চল থেকে পার্লামেন্ট মেম্বার হয়েছি, ভীষণ প্রত্যন্ত অঞ্চল, গ্রাম, তারপরে অনেক বেশি পিছিয়ে পড়া মানুষ। একটা সময় ছিল যখন মেয়েরা স্কুলে যাবে বা করতে যাবে, সেখানেও বাধা, চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছে। আমার ওখানে একটা কলেজ আছে, সেই কলেজের অর্ধেক ছাত্রছাত্রীর মধ্যে অর্ধেক ছেলে মেয়ে। প্রায় অর্ধেক মেয়ে যারা পড়ে সে কলেজে, তার 90% মেয়েরাই কিন্তু সাইকেল চালিয়ে বাড়ি থেকে কলেজে আসছে। গ্রামের মধ্যে আপনারা কেউ চিন্তা করতে পারবেন না, সে এক অভূতপূর্ব দৃশ্য। মাইলের পর মাইল লাইন ধরে মেয়েরা আসছে নিজেরা সাইকেল চালিয়ে। আমি গত বছরও 100 সাইকেল দিয়েছি, এই কয়েকদিন আগে গিয়েও একটা জায়গায় 15টা মেয়েকে সাইকেল দিয়ে এসছি এবং তাদের বলছি তোমরা কিন্তু সাইকেল কাউকে দেবো না, তোমরাই চালাবা। তারা বলছে না আমরা কাউকে দেবো না, আমরা চালাবো। এবং সত্যিকার অর্থেই সাইকেল চালানোটা হয়তো বড় ব্যাপার না, কিন্তু যদি আমরা গভীরভাবে চিন্তা করি যে বেরিয়ে আসা, একটা বলয় থেকে বেরিয়ে আসা, দৃষ্টিভঙ্গি পাল্টে দেওয়ার একটা লড়াই শুরু করা, এবং এই ধারাবাহিকতা চললে আর খুব বেশি দিন লাগবে না। পড়াশোনায় কিন্তু অলমোস্ট সমান সমান চলছে, তারা ছাত্র সংখ্যাও সমান সমানই। রেজাল্টে তো অনেক অনেক বিশেষ ক্ষেত্রে দেখা যায় মেয়েরা এগিয়ে আছে। তো কোথাও কিন্তু কমতি নাই, খালি মাইন্ডসেট করা দরকার। এই মাইন্ডসেটের জন্য আমাদের কিনোট স্পিকার যে কথাগুলো বলেছেন, আপনারা যদি সেটা ধারণ করেন, আর নিজেরা ধারণ করলেই কিন্তু শেষ হবে না, এই ধারণকৃত কথাগুলো এটাও কিন্তু ছড়িয়ে দিতে হবে সবাইকে। আপনারা সবাই উজ্জ্বল মুখের মানুষ, দায়িত্ব নিতে হবে আরও সবাইকে উজ্জ্বল করা, বলতে হবে কথা। এই সমাজ থেকে বা যে লেভেলে আপনারা আছেন তার থেকেও আরও নিচে যেখানে সাধারণ মানুষ আছে, সেই মানুষগুলোকে টেনে নিয়ে আসা। খুব বেশি দিন লাগবে না, আমরা সবাই যদি চেষ্টা করি, আপনারা সবাই যদি চেষ্টা করেন, তাহলে কিন্তু সেটা সম্ভব। 98 সালের কথা, আজকে থেকে 24 বছর আগে, আমি তখন বিজিএমই এর আপনারা জানেন আমি একসময় বিজিএমই এর প্রেসিডেন্টও ছিলাম, ওই ট্রেডের সাথেও জড়িত। জহির আছে সামনেই আমার। 98 সালে আমি তখন বিজিএমইর ভাইস প্রেসিডেন্ট হয়েছি। মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা আমাকে বললেন, তুমি তো ভাইস প্রেসিডেন্ট হয়েছো, ভালো কথা। এই যে গ্রাম থেকে লঞ্চ থেকে নেমে, ট্রেন থেকে নেমে মেয়েগুলা যে গার্মেন্টস ফ্যাক্টরিতে কাজ করতে যায়, এদের থাকার তো খুব সমস্যা, তা তোমরা দেখছো না কেন? অন্তত মেয়েগুলোকে একটুখানি জায়গা দাও, কোথাও থাকুক, তার একটা ডরমেটারি করো, কিছু একটা করো। কেননা এরা তো খুব কষ্ট এদের, তাছাড়া কোথায় গিয়ে থাকে, ইনসিকিউরিটি ফিল করে, এইসব কথা। তখন থেকেই প্রতিটা বার, যতবার উনি বলেছেন, দেখেছেন, এবং পরবর্তী কোনো এক সময় কিন্তু উনি নিজেই উদ্যোগ নিয়ে সরকারিভাবে ডরমেটরি করে দিয়েছেন। এই কথাটা বলার পিছনে যে এই যে দরদ আছে ওনার, এই পিছিয়ে পড়া মানুষগুলো যেন এগিয়ে আসুক, তাহলে কিন্তু অনেকখানি এগিয়ে যাবে। আমরা মেয়েরা কিন্তু কম না। দেখেন আমাদের বিজিএম একটা ইউনিভার্সিটি আছে, ওখানে অনেক মেয়েরা পড়ে, ছেলেরা পড়ে, সব পড়ে। আর কীরকম করে ভালো ভালো মেয়েরা তৈরি হচ্ছে। আমাদের স্বপ্না ভৌমিক, ওর বোধহয় নাম ওর, যে ইসের মার্কেট স্পেন্সার্সে ও প্রধান হয়েছে। আমরা কখনো চিন্তাও করতে পারতাম না এক সময় যে আমাদের দেশের একটা মেয়ে ওকে অত বড় একটা দায়িত্ব নিয়ে কাজ করতে পারে। এমনি করে আরও অনেক, যে রূপালী যেটা বললো, এরকম অনেক আছে। অতএব আমি 100% বিশ্বাস করি যোগ্যতায়, মেধায়, বুদ্ধিতে কোনো অংশে মেয়েরা সামান্যতম কম নয়। শুধু মাইন্ডসেট করা দরকার। একটা বাধা আছে, সেই বাধাটাকে অতিক্রম করা দরকার। সেই বাধা আমরা সবাই জানি। আর পুরুষ মানুষরা, আবারও বলি, আমি পুরুষ মানুষ হিসেবেই বলি, খুব সহজে ছাড় দেবে না, লড়াইটা চালিয়ে যেতে হবে। আর মেয়েরা তো সমান সমান কাজ করে যাচ্ছে। তাই শেষ কথা, আমি আর সময় নেব না আপনাদের পথ আপনাদের খুঁজে নিতে হবে। আমরা কেউ হয়তো কিছুটা সাহায্য করব, কিন্তু চেষ্টাটা আপনাদের করে দিতে হবে, আপনাদের জ্বলে উঠতে হবে। কবিতার কবির ভাষায়, জাগো নারী জাগো, বহ্নি শিখা। জয় বাংলা, জয় বঙ্গবন্ধু।
ধন্যবাদ মাননীয় প্রধান অতিথি। Thank you, Honorable Chief Guest, for speaking from your heart and talking about our Honorable Prime Minister. She has been talking about inheritance rights and changing the mindset, not just the laws. And so this conversation, Rupali Chaudhary also spoke about this. This is a very important conversation, and this is something that it came up in the sessions yesterday. Our Principal Secretary talked about it, and this is something that has to be taken forward if we do want to move forward, and we will. He was saying that little things matter as well, that riding a bicycle. we don't see much of it in the city with women. Whereas in the villages, in the rural areas, there is more of it. I personally learned to ride my bicycle last year. So, and coming from, this neighborhood, this society, that was very liberating. And I hope every girl can do this. With that, I would like to request our BIBC directors and members to come on stage to give our token of appreciation to our honorable chief guest. Thank you, sir, for being with us today and speaking to us.
It's over here, everyone. Okay. Ready? Ready? Thank you, sir. Okay, great.
তহিদ ভাই একটু পোডিয়ামটা সরায় দেন আর একটা চেয়ার এখান থেকে সরায় দেন আমাদের সামনে কিছু জায়গা খালি আছে পিছন থেকে যদি সবাই চলে এসে এখানে বসে যায় দেখতে সুন্দর লাগবে Thank you everyone. Now we will continue with our panel session. We have Ms. Nicole Mao with us. She's the founder and CEO of Tiger New Energy. And I was talking to her before the session, and she is doing something very interesting. She was a management consultant and Harvard educated, but she chose to come to Bangladesh to set up a business, and she can tell us a little bit about that as well. It's very exciting, interesting, and this is a sector that everybody's been talking about lately as well. She's manufacturing batteries for automobiles. But I would like to ask Nicole as well that what she would say is her biggest challenges where, as a female entrepreneur, in terms of setting up a business in a different country.
And thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm relatively new to this community. I graduated from Harvard in 2021, which is last year. I get my Master of Public Policy from Harvard Kennedy School and also MBA from Harvard Business School. Oh my God. You spoke in front of you? Oh my God. No, I actually get very inspired by your speech because after all this education, I choose Bangladesh over my marriage because I want to I really interested in emerging markets and renewable energy, and I really see the trend of renewable energy coming from Bangladesh and emerging markets. It's also a widely topic from COP27, which just finished. Emerging markets has been left out for those new energy transition, but there's a huge demand here. So I think this is a really meaningful problem for me to solve. So that's why I moved to Bangladesh with my classmates. Yui, she's over there. We met at the Harvard class. So I think today we're talking about what's the biggest challenge that I see as a female leader here. And I think one of the cultural shock, it's not cultural shock because it's commonly see either in China or US, is how I fit in this boys club of Bangladesh's business community, especially in the energy and the manufacturing sector. It's very common that I'm the only woman in the room. And sometimes people ask me like, okay, are you the interpreter? Where's your boss? Then later on, I become confused about how should I react, how should I show my power. So I become very dominant in every meetings. Then after that, I start wondering if I'm doing the right thing because it's not who I am really, and how should I? And with a lot of mental energy thinking about how should I fit in this men's community? Should I talk like them? Should I dress like them? Should I? Am I too aggressive or am I too soft? And those things really bothers me a lot. It becomes better when I brought up this question to other wonderful female leaders in Bangladesh. And I heard a very insightful question. She asked me, do you ever think that every man in the room would think about those questions themselves? Would they think about, oh, am I too aggressive? No, it never occurred to their mind. So it should not bother you at all. You just focus on who you are and just focus on your competence, and you will be good. And after that, I just get rid of those concerns of how should I be friends with them? How should I be more like masculine? I just try to be myself. And things turns out better because I realize as a female leader, as you mentioned, we actually have lots of strengths as a female. We are good listener, we are good communicator, we are more collaborative, and we're very good at solving questions. And especially like complicated like people issues and balancing things. Then I bring up those strengths to the team. And I think the whole point to the team is not everyone looking like the same, everyone look strong, powerful men. It's everyone bring in who they are and their true competence and the strengths to the team. So that's my hugest learning in this community. And I think for all the female entrepreneurs, what I really want to say is just be confident and be proud of our identity. Be proud of being a woman and be proud of being a women entrepreneur. Thank you. And I'm really glad that I always think it's boys club. Now I see today is a girls club. And they're trying to make more friends here.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the girls club. So just a little bit of housekeeping. I think I missed out on that. And I think everybody has been doing a very fantastic job of keeping within the times. But since we have a lot of speakers, so for first round, we will keep it to 4 to 5 minutes. And then if we have time, we can do a recap of 1 minute, and then we'll take questions. So our next panelist is Ms. Kazi Maisoon from Lakeshore Hospitality Group. And so in the hospitality sector and hotels, what we used to see is women would usually be working in housekeeping or in the front desk earlier. And how has that changed over time, and whether there are more women in higher positions and managerial positions in the hospitality sector, and how do you work with that to improve it?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me here, and it's an honor to be among such talented women here. To answer your question, yes. Yes, there were a lot of women working in the front desk, and it was initially to enhance the appearance of the hotel. But I think with time and exposure to the social media, and as well as families have traveled, they've learned a lot more about the hospitality industry. That has really helped them understand and learn about hotels. And a lot of, in terms of our hotel, we have most women leading in the HR, sales, and reservations. Especially, I think after I've joined in, I've mostly hired women because they have the inherent quality of being a homemaker, and they're very organized, and they have really taken care of the industry in terms of communications. And this has really helped a lot of women gain confidence, even learn English and communicate with foreign clients, foreign guests. So yes, I mean, we have progressed a lot in the past, since the past few generations. And I believe we can, do a lot more once our public transportation, whether it's the metro rail, if that's more available, then I think we should see a lot more women in our industry.
Thank you so much. So we see some of these narratives that are coming. One is that public safety and transportation, so that is a factor for women, a barrier, and hopefully with the new when the city changes with transport, things will improve. And speaking of hospitality, it's when we were young, very few women would actually go abroad to travel for education or for work. And for recreation, we wouldn't see women traveling. But that has changed. And my next question is to our panelist, Ms. Sabira Merin Saba, CEO and founder of Wonder Woman. You can tell us a little bit about Wonder Woman as well, if some of you might not know about it, but I personally have used Wonder Woman and have worked with Sabira. And so my question to her is, how would you describe the change in scene in terms of women traveling, whether in the country or abroad, in relation to women entering white-collar jobs and businesses?
Hello, everyone. First of all, it's an honor to share this panel with such heavyweight women out there. It's an inspiration to be here. First of all, Wonder Woman is a travel community that has been dedicated for the female travel enthusiasts of Bangladesh. And it was started 5 years ago because I myself actually faced the problems. And one of the factors that was actually mentioned, that how women were traveling even for work or education purpose. I myself, when I was studying in University of Dhaka, IBA, and going for a global competition to represent Bangladesh, my family members felt it was not safe for me to travel there, even though it was a very prestigious opportunity for me as a young student. And that's when I realized that it was just because of the gender and the safety concerns that's attached to it. And I wasn't even a rare example. It was actually thousands of women in this country who were not being able to travel because of the patriarchy, safety concerns, lack of knowledge, or the confidence that a woman has within themselves if they can mobilize properly. Keeping that in mind, gradually I started seeing that, yes, women around me are actually traveling, but the examples were actually limited. And keeping that in mind, I felt that I needed inspiration by myself, because role modeling is something that actually enables other women to feel that if someone else has been able to have a trailblazing journey, despite having all the struggles, then why not me? So from that perspective, I felt that we need a really strong community, and I started that in 2017. And it started with just 200 women, and now we are actually looking at almost 6-figure number of women and members who are traveling all over the world in 87 plus countries. With that in mind, I would say the change, because when I was starting, I was talking to some of my friends, including male as well, and they were telling me that why would you need a community where you are not even representing 1% of the country? You are traveling a lot because of all these conferences and competitions, education purpose, but women would not be able to relate to you because it's a privilege to even exercise this kind of freedom. So how would you even be relatable for others? I felt the stories, the journeys, the struggles that I faced, that would inspire more people. And to utter surprise, I realized more and more women are out there. And without this community, I wouldn't have been able to even know. And in last 5 years, I have been able to see how hundreds of women are gradually, I won't say the number is big, but they started actually traveling not just for work purpose, but also for recreation purpose as well. Keeping the pandemic aside, the pent-up demand has already been there, and more women are actually traveling because travel has started becoming a part of their lifestyle, and I think that's just a start for the country. And if more women are actually participating in this endeavor, I believe that the tourism industry, which is already underrepresented, it's a full of hidden gems in this country. And we have so much to promote to the outer world, because I think that Bangladesh hasn't been able to showcase how beautiful we are in terms of people, in terms of destination. And if more women are actually getting into this industry as not just travelers, but also entrepreneurs and ecosystem builders, I think we can actually take it to a whole new level in the global map. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sabira, and thank you for working towards normalizing tourism and travel for women. This is a big frontier. Our next panelist is Ms. Tasin Mahbub, Director of Ananta Real Estate Limited. Today we've been talking a lot about inheritance law, and in terms of that, only 4% of land is owned by women in this, So can you please tell us about your experience with women's participation in the buying and selling of real estates that goes hand in hand with owning property? Do you think it's a decision they take based on someone's, to be more precise, a male family member's counsel, or has the scene now changed and women are being able to take decisions themselves?
Thank you, Zareen. We have a wonderful panel here, and I'm extremely delighted to be here. So from my experience, I have seen ladies who are coming in with their children. They are making independent decisions about real estate, which is something that we were probably not expecting as a group. And then we have had occasions where there are ladies who are living abroad in first world countries. They came up and they showed the interest, and they have done the entire process of the finance, the payments, the installments, and throughout the process, we have not seen their husbands, but they do have husbands who are, of course, I would imagine, very supportive of what they're doing. And they do have that trust in their wives, which is, again, something extremely commendable, according to me. To make such a big decision by themselves, which is, of course, not the scenario globally, or maybe not the scenario in other real estate industries, but we kind of feel that our product is segregated, which is because we are the first LEED certified gated community in Bangladesh, residential. We bring in our experience of building LEED certified factories from RMG, and then all our expertise. And we have with us also a Harvard graduate, my brother-in-law. He's done his master's in MBA from Harvard. My husband here, he's done his degree from UT Austin. He's an economist. And then we have also with us my parents here, my father, who has done his master's from University of Dhaka, and also his graduation from there, and my mother, who's done her undergrads, and my sister, who is an architect from Buet, and we have a... My father was first class, second in his batch. So we feel that we were given that environment where we could thrive. We were always supported by our parents. We were given the values, the core values, and then we kind of took it with us, and that reflected in whatever we did in life. And coming to the seller point of view, we do have our VP is VP of Ananta Terraces. She's also here with us. So she's a lady. In fact, our chairman, my mother-in-law, the group chairman, is a lady. And then, right, you know her. And then we feel that at Ananta, we have quite a, I would say, a great mix of very educated and experienced people of all ages, and that's our strength.
Thanks a lot. Actually, it's really heartwarming to hear that as well, and especially because we all know about your mother-in-law and what she has done, her contribution to the businesses. Yes. So she's not here, but kudos to her. Thank you. A lot of respect. A lot of respect for her.
Who brought up such nice children.
Exactly.
I forgot to mention my other sister, who's a medical doctor who lives in the US. So my parents never made us feel like we were less than a man. Or, you know, I've never seen them regretting the fact that we are 3 daughters. Yeah. And that kind of built our confidence. Yes. And I'm proudly going to say that, if I may, that I treat both my kids equally. I have a son and a daughter. And I would like to continue to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Daughters are the best blessings.
They are. They absolutely
that parents
are.
can have. My father says that to me all the time. And he is my mentor. With that, I would like to move to our next panelist, Ms. Arusha Khan. She's a director of Seven Rings Cement. Their business is Bangladesh and Hong Kong based. So you have that experience of the work in Hong Kong, because you were based in Hong Kong before as well, and Hong Kong, China, but also have exposure to the work that is being done in Bangladesh. So how do you compare the gender diversity landscape of the two places, and what do you think are the challenges we face in Bangladesh in the big industries from that perspective?
Thank you, Zareen, for the question, and thank you to my fellow panelists. I'm so honored to be a part of this extremely accomplished group of women. I'm so inspired to hear all of your stories. Just to introduce myself and my company briefly, I was born in Chittagong. My family is from Chittagong, but my family moved to Hong Kong in the late 80s to set up their trading business. So the business was set up by my father and his 2 brothers, so it is a family business, very much family run still. But we have an amazing story that from that point in time, after the liberation of Bangladesh, my father and his brothers started importing cement into the country, and they always had a dream that they would one day set up a cement manufacturing facility here. And now we are in the top 3 largest cement producers in the country, and also the largest importer of and supplier of cement raw materials into Bangladesh. And annually we trade over 15 million tons of cement industry commodities and energy products. So our head office is in Hong Kong, and we also have a factory in Dubai producing eco-friendly cement materials. And I'm a director of trading, and I'm responsible for the green and eco-friendly products of our group. So being here today is really interesting for me. I hope I bring that international perspective along with my other fellow members who are like Nicole, who's also from China. I'm actually also a Hong Kong passport holder, so I'm both Chinese as well. But I am so rooted with Bangladesh too. And I feel that even though the two places are so different. The gender diversity landscape faces similar challenges. So both societies are extremely traditional and culture-oriented. So that mindset of females being the nurturer and females having the responsibility to bear the entire responsibility of families and children is still very much in the mindset of both societies of Bangladesh and China, I would say. But in a professional landscape, to encourage more women in the workforce, especially in leadership positions, one thing that Hong Kong is doing, which is really interesting, they've just put two things. They've put a new rule, legislation, that for all listed companies, there has to be minimum one female board member. This is a regulation, and also existing listed companies have to have a gender diverse board by the end of 2024. So this has opened up 1,300 new board seats for women who will be able to take a seat at the table at the top. And I feel like that is something that Bangladesh can also implement. And although our honorable minister said that no one will give up their seat, or men will never want to give up their seat, we do need regulation, and we do need that push to make it available, to give access to women. Even we can fight all we want, but if that access is systemically not available, we'll never get there. So regulation is needed. The second thing is there's an amazing organization, I believe it's global, but there's a chapter in Hong Kong called 30% Club, and their mission is to make boards gender diverse. Minimum 30% boards and senior management of companies need to be gender diverse. So that kind of organization, and I'm so honored to be part of WICI. Organizations like BIBC are promoting that gender diversity in Bangladesh as well. So I do believe that we will get there. So, and the other thing, from a big industry like cement is a very male-dominated industry. So the way that we can overcome that, I think, and Rupali Chaudhary, she has really highlighted that safety is one of the biggest factors for women in this industry. So in my company, we've seen that whenever we try to appoint a senior leader who's a woman, one of the objections is, oh, she can't go out in the field, all our workers are men, they won't be able to, she won't be able to access to them and really get through to them or understand their problems. But, and safety is also a concern. So I think if we can increase the health and safety aspect regulations in our country, then women can access all levels of the organization, not only just the top. So yeah, and from a perspective of a family business, I'm very proud to say that in our board we have 40% of women on the board. I have amazing cousins who are also key leaders in our organization, so I really look up to them, and my parents also, like you, have supported me. I'm the eldest of 5, and I'm the only daughter. I have 4 younger brothers. So I've always felt like my father did not treat me any differently, and never he always says that having a daughter is the greatest blessing, and he says sometimes to me in secret that I wish I had 5 daughters instead of 5 sons, instead of 4 sons and 1 daughter. So I feel very honored, and I'm so proud to be here and representing my organization, and also amongst all these other amazing women. So thank you for giving me this platform.
Thank you, Arusha. That was very sweet as well. And thank you for talking about the 30% club. And it is very important. And I think, like, also in the context of Bangladesh, like there are regulations, as you know, for the listed companies. But also, I think there is that work in training women independent directors. So more women can serve on these boards, as, you know, like there are the directors who come, appointed directors from the businesses, but also the independent directors. So there is that work going on, and hopefully, like, we do see those changes going forward. And we see, you know, like a lot of these changes are coming from organizations like Ms. Rupali Chaudhary's multinationals, where, you know, they have more processes in places. So with that, I would like, our next panelist is Ms. Zareen Karim, Managing Director of Orion Pharma and Healthcare Limited, and she's a childhood friend. We go, from class 5. So my question to Zareen is, Big Pharma, it generates a lot of export revenue for the country, but you come from a big conglomerate as well, and you work with many vendors. How can your company and others similar to yours promote women entrepreneurs in SMEs through vendor management?
Assalamu alaikum, Madab, and a very good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mantasha and the entire team for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. It's an honor for me to share the same platform as our keynote speaker, Rupali Appa, and the rest of the panel members. I feel truly honored to be here today. You see, the pharma sector is the local market size is 3.64 billion, which is huge. So after the RMG sector, the next sector that is going to generate the highest revenue is going to be the pharma sector. So the scope is huge. The scope is huge for women and for small enterprises and entrepreneurs. Is I would say, we have to import the API. We produce a medicine with API and the excipients. So most of the APIs are imported from outside, but the excipients can be produced here. Say, for example, the color grade, the color has to be pharma grade or it has to be food grade. That does not take that much of investment to set up a industry or set up a small business unit where we can't survive without it. It's a very important ingredient, and other excipients like even primary and secondary packaging, say foils, vials, and ampoules. These are produced here, but though it is male generated, mostly male dominated, but still the scope is there. So I would expect, and I do support many organizations, especially women, to focus on the primary and the secondary packaging, because without the packaging, of course, we can't export or we cannot be in the local market. And that does not require that much of huge investment. So we could focus on that.
Thank you, Zareen. So here, yesterday and today, I think there in the conference, there are these women entrepreneurs who are in the SME, and they are doing amazing work in the leather sector. They're in the chemical and some of the what you're talking about. So hopefully, there can be more synergy to work with the big industries for the women in SMEs. Now I would go to our last panelist and the youngest panelist of today. So Ms. Rifat Asnia, she's a director of Walton Group, a very recent graduate as well. So it's amazing to see that so many younger women also coming to the forefront and working. So welcome. And so I have a question for you, because Walton is a household name in our country. How can big brands such as Walton influence behavior change towards gender equality through product branding and communications?
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to give greetings to our Ms. Rupali. Thank you for giving me this chance in front of so many big positions. I'm very nervous at this time.
You're okay.
Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I'm pleasure to be here. So I'm presenting Walton. I have joined recently Walton. I joined back in 2019. That time I was studying. So during the COVID, it was the precious time that it was high time to learn, because I was doing online classes. So I came back to the Bangladesh. So my father was like, don't sit at home, go to office and learn. So he was like, don't fear COVID, don't fear anything. Just go to the factory and just learn the machines and everything. Women are not here to sit and just cook or to stay in the kitchen. You have to work. You always need to be set in your mind that you have to work. You cannot be a housewife. I cannot tolerate you as a housewife. You have to be a working woman. So he was always pushing me and my sister and there were a lot of, like, it's a joint family. So there are 5 brothers. So my father is the eldest and I'm the youngest. So the question you asked me, like, as you know, back in 10 to 12 years back, the electronics or the home appliances like TV, fridge, AC, those were like luxury items to the common people. Like, it wasn't that much available in this country. So Walton has achieved the entire very Bangladeshi households with their products. We are continuously striving for the technologies excellences across the domestic and the global market. Like, we are planning to export so that we can support the Bangladesh economy, because as you know, the dollar rate has raised so much. So we went for massive production of electronics goods equally, like especially for the homewares and the kitchen appliances. Like as she is here for the battery, like Walton also have introduced recently the battery section. We are also going to plan for the automobiles and everything. So as this is for the Omen, so in our like company, we are basically focusing on the how to make more easier for women as a housewife or as a working person. So with the products, so that the technology can be more and more easy for the women, so that they can give time to their family, to their work, to their self-time, especially. That's needed the most. So I have recently married, like it's been almost few months. So I know that it's very difficult for handling the job plus the house and plus family. So by the products, we're trying to give more and more opportunities for the women. In our company, from the top management to the level skill, there are women. In the board of directors, if you check, there are 6 men, 6 women. So we are always try to give the priority to the women in the main board. No one is less than anyone. It's not necessary that men need to be always dominating or the woman needs to be the dominating. We can always work together, I feel. So my father and the Walton, as an advertisement, we always try to give the influence or to always motivate that the products are only for a better and easy life. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And what...
I just want to say one thing. All the respect to the housewives, because it is the choice of life. You know, someone can actually stay home and become a good mother and give good children to the nation. So there is no problem doing that. So who actually decides to work, it's up to them. So what it's in any way, if we were really insensitive to the housewife, we are really extremely sorry. We have a lot of respect for the housewife. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thanks a lot, Ms. Rupali Chaudhary, to speak about that as well, because also what we see is it's the unpaid labor that, you know, women, that has to be monetized, because women work at home and we're not paid for it and it's not accounted for in the economy. But also what Rifa has pointed out is making lives easier for women through make a product, a household product, the electronics. And I would just like to bring it out. When I think of making lives easier, in terms of Professor Siddika Kabir, she wrote the cookbook, and I bless her every day because I think she made cooking easy for women and made it in a very simplified way. And fun. So, you know, like your time in the kitchen goes down. Not just for women here, but like when also men go abroad, they carry that Siddika Kabir's book. And we're talking about changing that mindset, that we are equal, we share the household chores as well.
Household has one of our books.
I have 3.
Now you has taken over.
Yeah.
No, even the men can also like help with the household because the technology is easy now.
Exactly. So we do see that, you know, like, so it is a very important thing. And what we have been seeing in all the discussions is that men need to be our allies in the forms of our fathers, our partners, the people we work with, colleagues. So it is very important to have these allies. And thanks to all the male listeners here today with us. A round of applause for all of you. But also, I think...
I would like to add to this because we need men in our lives. I absolutely believe it because I have a younger brother. And when I was born and my brother was born, my father said that everything is going to be same. Everything is going to be equal. You both are going to get equal opportunities. You both are going to have everything, share the same space. So, and whatever I am today and the person I am today is because of my father, my brother, even my husband, who encourages me every day, who inspires me every day. There are days when I think that I can't do it. You know, it's going to be difficult for me because some days, work days are really bad, but then they do inspire us to a highest level. And my father is my mentor, and I learn from him every day. And my mother still works. My mother, at this age, even she sits in the office and she works and she takes care of one of our, the tea sector we have. So I think we need it's a balanced combination of men and women together to move forward.
I 100% agree with
definitely. That. So we need our allies to move forward. And some of the discussion points that I think like echoed throughout the discussions where we talked about the inheritance laws, safety, women's representation because we are talking from a corporate point of view in the boards. So these are, I think a lot of us talked about it. We are running out of time, so we won't do a 1-minute recap anymore, but we would take a few questions if there's any. We'll take 3 questions maybe. ওনাকে কি একটা মাইক্রোফোন দেওয়া যাবে এখান থেকে একটা If you could say your name and your question and if,
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Shahmina, I am actually a gender specialist working in USAID Feed the Future trade activities. So I work with women entrepreneurs, and I actually work with the regulatory procedures to make it easier for women to access formal business registration. So just to quote, I found the discussion, thank you to the amazing panelists. You've brought a lot of important discussions into the table, and I would like to thank the keynote speaker as well. As always, she is brilliant, and she's, I think, one of the female icons of the country. So having said that, I would like to just to quote that the women's representation in the RGSC registered companies is actually decreasing. It's not only 18.1%. According to the latest RGS statistics, out of the 13,000 new entities registered, only 5.6% of them have women in the board of directors. And that is an alarming number because even a year back, it was 7%. So as women leaders and as women advocates, I think I would request you all to kindly consider this and kind of implement the inclusion of at least one director in each of the company that Seven Rings Cement has talked about. I think this is an important step because India has already done it, but it has not been done in Bangladesh, and I think it's a very simple step. So you, in the business scene as leaders, I think it's a request, and it's about, as the minister has said, that you have to push for it. So if we push for it, I think this will create more opportunities for women to participate in the board and to have seats more, because it's also about providing them with the opportunity. And apart from that, I found another discussion that's very important about how Walton is actually thinking about women. So if big industries also thought about how they can produce products and services that will improve the lives of women, it can be insurance, it can be home real estate as well, to make the terms more easier for women, helping them with access of formal finance to buy property, that would, I think, make her change. So I found the discussion very relevant, and thank you. And I request, it's a request to all of you, you are all prominent personalities, to kind of take the message forward that we need to include more women, because the standard dialogue is we've created an equal space, there is no discrimination, but there is, because the statistics speak for itself. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks a lot. You were talking about the Indian law about women on boards, and so I think SEC has for corporate governance there is a requirement, but that's only for listed companies, and that is something that has to be taken forward for RJC, other private limited companies, and so this is something, there is a lot of work to be done in that area. We all acknowledge that. Rupali Appa, if you want to add something here.
I think your point is well taken. Only thing is that we are unable to create that pipeline also. So when we actually look around that who actually we make the director in the board, so it has to be seen. It is on the basis of the meritocracy. We cannot, certain jobs, a CEO's job is not really gender specific. So you have to deliver the results. So here, if the competition, the women do not come, so we cannot really do anything about it. So we have to create that pipeline. So that's more important. They are not, in the middle of it, they are just disappearing. So that's the problem that we are talking about.
Thank you. I see one hand there, and I'll, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes. Please say your name.
Oh, hi. My name is Kishwar, and I represent, hi, Zarinapu, and I know a few folks here. So I represent a fintech company called Mitro, and what we do is we help blue-collar workers with financial access. A lot of our customers are female, and I have been on the ground speaking to both male and female factory workers and understanding what they need, right? And it's been quite inspiring to see how more than men, the women were more organized when it comes to finances. More than men, the women had more defined future plans, right? So that was really inspiring to see. Now, one of the challenges that I'm facing as a recruiter, as a CEO, is building a team with strong, independent, powerful women around us. That's something that I want to do proactively, and it's part of the, I guess, the mission to build a team like that. But it's been difficult to find the right people in those right seats because of the pipeline challenge, right? Now, at the same time, because of how society has evolved over the years, over the decades, there is a confidence issue with women, right? Women have been brought down because of structure, yada, yada, right? So as a male leader, what can we do to inspire that confidence amongst women who work with us? That's the question.
May I answer that? What was the question? Did I get the question? I mean,
yeah, Kishwar, say
so
it a little aloud.
Acha, so the damn, wow, okay. So the question is, oh, this is way more.
Yeah,
loud.
we can hear now.
Yeah, the question is, what can men in leadership do to inspire confidence amongst the women that we work with and who surround us? What can we do?
do the same thing when you do, same thing that you do with your male colleagues. You don't have to be. Women are not really asking for any special treatment. Special treatment means, actually workplace harassment. So I think that just treat them as human being. And we women would like to think that we're a human being. When we work, we actually get aside the femininity part of it. My gender is not important here. My work is important here. So just remember that.
Thank you, Rupali Appa. Next question to you. Unaki ekta microphone then. Yeah. Say your name and then the question.
Hi guys, my name is Gareth Brooks. I have to say I'm very proud and honoured to be here in front of all of you and listen to your stories and I guess your journey so far. I sit here as an entrepreneur myself, and I guess, you know, we're sitting amongst industrialists, female industrialists, and just an idea that's come to mind. I don't know if it's available, but obviously one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs, men or women, is seed capital. You know, getting companies, getting ideas off the ground and getting them to fruition. Do you guys, have you considered pooling together your financial resources, crowdfunding specifically for women? Is there a female entrepreneurs crowdfunding platform that could be available to women in Bangladesh? I don't know if it's out there, but just as a suggestion.
Thanks a lot. Actually, yeah. So there is this Bangladesh Women Investors Network under Bangladesh Angels. And I think there might be others, but this is a network, and Zareen is part of it as an investor. I know there's Kashfi sits on the board. Sabira is pitching to them this Saturday. So there is that, you know, like, so there are the potential investors and also women founders who are going there too. And I think like this has been formed very recently, and she is in the first cohort to present. So these things are happening, but I think like we need to see more of it. Like more women, you know, like investors need to come like from this industrial, you know, like if all of you could be there as investors, this would be fantastic. And I will make sure that all of you get connected. I connected Zareen before. I'll connect all of you to that as well, because it's a great network to support other women and bring them up. Thanks a lot for talking about this. Yeah. Yeah.
I think more than a question, it's...
Your name?
Yeah, I'm Sharif, Tiru's husband, sitting here.
That's very good identity.
That's probably a better recognition. I personally don't believe in these quotas, actually, quotas or privileges. So there has to be a time, like, you know, it's not in equal footing now, so probably there's a lot to do. But at some point, I think, you know, quota kind of like, it does restrict another person to be, like, you know, in that position, right? So it's actually the qualification. Now, if it's a professional job, then what we need is the consistency, actually, whether it's a male or female. If someone wants to build a career, they have to go a long way, actually, right? And when we look at like someone with a 20 years, 30 years career, you don't get too many of, you know, professional people. Forget like, I mean, even in male, as a male, we don't see that, like when we're employing. And if we have the female, it's the same suggestion, actually. Just be consistent. If it comes to entrepreneurship, it's the vision, it's the determination, right? And I can say for sure, like, you know, if I look at my wife, when she's putting her mind into something, she does it better than me, probably, like, you know, even if, whether it's marketing or, and same with most of our stuffs. If you look at the entire RMG industry, it's like, you know, 90% of our workforce is female, actually. And why do we do that? It's not for, like, you know, any other reason. It's because they give a better result. If it comes to merchandising, if it comes to any senior position, it's the same thing. So I think that's what we need, is the consistency, the persistence. And there is no reason to differentiate, actually. That's the most important thing. Since I have to ask the question, I was just thinking, like, you know, so just a question to Thiru. You being an entrepreneur in the real estate sector, how do you see the industry evolving different from the traditional, like, you know, what we see the real estate today, you know, residentials being built in 1 bigger plot or 8-kata plot? What do you see the future of real estate in Dhaka or in Bangladesh in general?
Thank you for the question, Sharif. Traditionally, buildings were being built in Gulshan, Baridhara, or Dhanmandi, or any other locality. It used to be on maximum a 2 biga or minimum a 5-kata land. So that was restricting the whole process of creating or of giving amenities that are possible only when you're creating a gated community. you know, you cannot by yourself within, say, a 10 kata building, it is not possible to give those facilities that which we can, being in a luxury resort living gated community. Say we have individual pools for every apartment building, we have a gym, we have a 250 capacity hall, then we have all these, we have 840-meter jogging track, which all looks at the wellness of its residents and then of its people. We feel that as a parent, whenever our son is out of the house, we feel anxious, right? Our son or daughter. So we tend to kind of ask them where you are, and that they're not happy about that. So what happens is, if we can find a community, a like-minded community where we have all the resources that an international standard, you know, a 5-star hotel or more than that can have, then why not be there? And then we have the retail, high-end retail. Say personally, whenever I'm thinking, oh, I need to buy this product, I have a quick list of products that I, you know, tick mark that I need to buy when I go abroad for my next trip, which is very unfair because we need to have that kind of standard. So we have engaged PPZ. They are, you know about it. So they are helping us with the mall operating. So that's how we feel that we can make a change in this sector by giving out this product, an opportunity to everybody to experience a world-class gated community here in Bangladesh. And we are no less than any other country who are doing that. Thank you.
Actually, just to complement, our land size, in terms of, you know, the population and land size, is so unfavorable that we have to go vertical, and that this small place giving one plot is, we have been talking about that, you know, the gated community in different, you know, scale, like middle class, for upper middle class, for all classes is very much necessary. So I think the private sector initiatives is very good, and government also stop giving those type of single plot and make actually gated community. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So we're at the end of our session. Thanks to everyone for being with us today, and a big round of applause for Ms. Rupali Chaudhary for being with us and speaking to us. So we would end the session with a little bit of appreciation for all our panelists. So I'm ready to press the button. So if we can all stand, and we will take pictures. Okay, we'll take the pictures with the crest. So let me, So this is for everyone on behalf of BIBC. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being with us.